Hello everyone and welcome to the Tavern. Last month I did a video on the top 20 women of Gundam, and I said I'd do a top 20 guys video on White Day. For those curious, White Day is a Japanese holiday that ties into Valentine's Day, where men give gifts to the women in their lives, especially those who gave them gifts for Valentine's Day. It's a fun little tradition, and I'm using it as an excuse to post my video. As with my last Gundam Top 20, I had to narrow down the list in a couple of ways. First, I removed all the manga and video game reference material. Then, I narrowed it down to just Gundam pilots. Then I used the same rubric I used for my previous video. The rankings are designed around 3 categories: importance to the story, skills as a pilot, and memorable moments. Before I get into the main list, I have some honorable mentions, some of whom don't pilot Gundams, but do pilot Gundam-like units. One final note, there may be some spoilers in this video. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get started with the honorable mentions. Jared Mesa, a Gundam pilot and antagonist of the Zeta Gundam series, who is very memorable due to his rivalry with Camille. His anger and search for revenge make him a compelling character, yet he lacks any kind of character growth. He does have some skills as a pilot, but gets overshadowed by his rival. Despite his flaws, he does have memorable moments, but can't quite earn a spot on the main list. Graham Acker, the ace pilot of the Union, who is one of the best pilots in the 00 timeline. The technique of mid-air transformation is named after him, the Graham Special. He has some very memorable moments in both seasons, but he only pilots a Gundam in secondary materials. At least the Susanoo is a Gundam-like, but that's not enough to put him on the main list. Treize Kushranada, the leader of Oz and a talented MS pilot. His importance to the story of Wing cannot be denied, and he has several memorable moments. He also has good combat and political skills. Due to not piloting a Gundam, although the Tallgeese 2 is a Gundam-like, he could not be put on the main list. Quattro Bagina, known under many names, but under this alias he pilots the Hyakushiki, a prototype unit that is the basis for a Gundam. His importance to Zeta Gundam may only be surpassed by his importance to Classic and Char's counterattack. His skills are almost unmatched, and he has some great lines. However, he never piloted an official Gundam, which kept him off the list. Schwarz Bruder, the master of German ninjutsu, who is also a skilled Gundam fighter. He is very important to Domon's development and shows off his skills in several battles. His sacrifice is memorable, and if not for him, the Devil Gundam may not have been defeated. He almost made the main list, but he was removed from the list in the late decision-making process. Making the list was difficult, as there are so many Gundam pilots who deserve a position on the list. Narrowing down the top 20 was a challenge, considering the original list I had featured over 50 characters. After some discussion, the list was settled. So let's break down the top 20 male Gundam pilots. 20. Kira Yamato. One of the biggest Gary Stu characters in Gundam, so much so he has that Jesus meme. Despite that, he is very important to the series, as the Earth-based mass production units wouldn't exist without Kira. He has great skills due to his super coordinator status, and a few cool takedowns. What holds him back most is being a boring character and an inferior copy of a superior character. 19. McGillis Farid. One of the most complicated characters on the list, a skilled manipulator, but his piloting skill is lacking. His most interesting moments are outside of a mobile suit, but his role in Iron-Blooded Orphans is very important. His great moments might be limited, but he will always be remembered as the Chocolate Man. 18. Shiro Amada, the protagonist of the 8th MS team, and the reason why the Federation earned a victory in Southeast Asia. He may have some plot armor, but that doesn't take away from his epic victories in a Ball and in the EZ-8. His relationship with Aina and his issues with his team make him a very relatable character. In the grand scale of the 1 Year War, he isn't very important, and the flaws of the writing in his series does push him a little bit lower on the list. 17. Laron Sahak. one of the most important characters in Turn A, who is partially responsible for the chaos that breaks out. Despite that, Laurent has some very memorable moments and grows as a character throughout the series. Many of his piloting achievements might be due to the power of the White Doll rather than actual skills, but his actions still make him a hero, a likable character who earned his spot on this list. 16. Mikazuki Agus. Despite having very little personality and letting the story or other characters guide him, Mika is a very likable character. His skills as a pilot rank up amongst some of the best. He has memorable moments both in and out of his MS. His personality flaws and lack of agency help highlight the main themes of the show. If only he had done more in the story, then he would have been higher on the list. 15. Setsuna F. Sei. The only character on the list who identifies as a Gundam. He has a tragic backstory and has a major impact on the events of the 00 universe. However, he often lets the story guide him, and his lack of personality hurts his rank. Still, he has skills and some great moments in both seasons and in the movie that make him stand out amongst many other pilots. 14. Jidao Ashita. The smart-mouthed, fun-loving protagonist of Double Zeta. His skills grow through the series, and he gets a couple great moments. His interactions with the Neo Zeon pilots and his own team make him stand out amongst most of the protagonists. However, the first half of the series holds him back from a higher rank, but his generally positive attitude makes him a fun character. 13. Uso Ewin. One of the youngest Gundam pilots who takes up the responsibility of protecting refugees when the Victory's test pilot, Marbet Fingerhat, is wounded. He faces great challenges and rises to the occasion as his new type abilities start to awaken. Uso's actions and choices have a big impact on the story, and his skills keep him and his allies alive. Mostly. He may not be the most popular Gundam pilot, but his struggles make him shine and earn him a spotlight on the list. 12. Athrin Zala. An antagonist turned ally who must face his stern father, hypocritical girlfriend, murder-crazy best friend, his weird feelings for Kigali, and deal with his emo kohai, Shin. He has skills enough to lead a special forces team and continues to improve his skills over the course of both series and a movie. He has some great takedowns in both series and a few memorable lines. Athrin stands out despite all the flaws in the Seed franchise. 11. Zex Merquise. The masked antagonist of the Wing franchise, who has a wild character arc as he seeks revenge for his homeland, loses faith in his mission, tries to be a peacemaker, before finally leading a revolution for the space colonies. Very skilled and with some great moments, both in and out of his MS. While some of his choices seem to come out of nowhere, Zex still holds up as a great character. 10. Anavel Gato. The Nightmare of Solomon has enough skill to earn a major kill count, including ships, during the Battle of Solomon. He has memorable lines and great moments in his series. He lacks screen time, but makes the most of what he is given. Despite having a very weak protagonist to fight, Gato still stands out as a great antagonist, even amongst some of the other great antagonists of the Universal Century. 9. Garad Ran. Protagonist of Gundam X, who begins as a bit of a street punk who finds himself getting wrapped up into the ever-increasing conflict between Earth and space. His skills continue to grow in the series, including the ability to hold his own against new types, while not being a new type. Also, his relationship with Tifa and Jamil helps expand the story. He has some great moments, and deserved better than a series that was cut short. 8. Ribbons Allmark. Introduced as the unassuming assistant to Alejandro, but revealed to be a mastermind leading the Innovades. A secret manipulator in Season 1, who becomes a major villain in Season 2. He is one of the most skilled Gundam pilots in the 00 timeline, and has some amazing battle scenes. He is the monster lurking in the shadows, who changes the world while no one's looking, and that gives him an easy slot on this list. 7. Master Asia. A previous Gundam battle champion, the undefeated of the East, and a complex character in a very shallow series. Master Asia wants to see the world renewed. He wants a warrior's death, and he fights for his nation. Part villain, part hero, and a guiding force for the story of G Gundam. His fighting skills are unmatched, and he has many great moments, including destroying mobile suits with his bare hands. His relationship with Domon and his over-the-top energy make him a very unique character. 6. Jamil Nite, a veteran of the 7th Space War who must deal with the scars of the past while leading his team and facing the challenges of a brewing space war. His character growth doesn't come easy as he fights physically and mentally against his enemies and himself. His skills as a pilot become more apparent as the series continues, and his heroism is shown both as a captain and as a pilot. 5. Chang Wu Fei. The Wing Boys aren't the deepest of characters, but Wu Fei stands out due to his internal struggle with his honor that clashes with the views of other people. His complex relationship with Sally Po, his battling beliefs with Hiro, and his desire to die on the battlefield are only part of what makes him an interesting character. He goes from haughty to broken to focused in the course of the show. He handles the Zero system and has quite the body count. A great warrior with depth and a great character arc that puts him in the rare class of Gundam pilots. 4. Domon Kashu, the apprentice of Master Asia and protagonist of G Gundam. He fights to win honor for Neo-Japan and put an end to the sins of his family. He grows from loner to team player, then later learns to open his heart to Rain. He grows stronger through the series and faces some of the strongest warriors in the world. A rough-around-the-edges hero who makes it high on the list due to his achievements and growth. 3. Ali Al-Sachez, one of the most evil people in all of Gundam. Not only an evil character, but one who enjoys the art of destruction. He is a key part of the backstory of 2 Gundam Meisters. He is an assassin, a skilled pilot, and a bloodthirsty maniac with a very high body count, including major and supporting characters. He claims his rank through being memorable, deadly, and story relevant, as well as one of the best villains in the franchise. 2. Camille Bidon, one of the strongest new types in the Universal Century, who goes from whiny brat into strong warrior. He faces many challenges and takes on the best the Earth Federation can throw at him. His growth is slow, but the journey makes him a memorable and likable character. His fate at the end of Zeta Gundam helps emphasize the themes of the show. Very few Gundam pilots can rank up as high as Camille. 1. Amuro Ray. Again, my number 1 is something of an obvious answer, the prototypical protagonist of the Gundam franchise. He begins as a naive kid who is forced into war. He grows up quickly as he is forced to fight to keep himself and his friends alive. By the end of the series, he is a different person due to his experiences. He faces his own weakness in Zeta and becomes one of the greatest Gundam heroes in Char's counterattack. His abilities as a pilot are undeniable, and he has many memorable moments. So many, in fact, that nearly everyone has a different scene in mind when they think of Amuro's greatest moments. Thank you for watching. This was a difficult list to make, as characters kept being added, moved, replaced, and changed throughout the narrowing of the list. Odds are, if I did this list next week, the list probably would be a little bit different. I'm curious who would show up on your list, so please let me know in the comments. I might do more videos like this in the future, but until then, please like and subscribe so I know that you want to see more Gundam List videos. Until next time, I'll see you at the tavern.